I mean, the first time I heard of a sex robot was probably maybe 10 years ago. And it was this video, and a bunch of people, I was in graduate school, sent me this video because I knew what I was studying sex. And it was, I don't know if either of you, Jamie, have seen this video, but it went viral, and it was this early version of sex robot, but it was like the silicone face with a wig. And I'll say she was eating a banana, but she wasn't actually eating a banana. And it was basically like this head attached to a broomstick and had a sheet over it. And so you couldn't see the rest of the robot. You just saw the face of it. But then the manufacturer shows you it's just like a broomstick. So what I thought was interesting is that even though it looks so hilarious bad, that there was obviously a market for it because so many people were interested in looking at this video, and also that people were buying this product. But now you fast forward, I think it was like 5 years ago, there was a huge, I would say, not moral panic, but there was a lot more discussion about it. They said the robots are coming. I don't think the technology was quite there yet. I wrote about it quite a bit at the time. And now they're saying in probably another year or two, it's going to be really coming in terms of the popularity that these robots are going to be incorporated into everyday life in some cases. Because when I think of social media, the internet, AI, like you said, is becoming so mainstream and so ubiquitous. What's going to happen when we have these robots that are now being integrated into human life? And what happens when the technology does get so good that, they are more human-like and they are able to meet people's emotional needs and maybe even physical needs? What's going to happen to us then?
Yeah, we're going to stop breeding. And maybe that's the AI's plan. It's to not exterminate the human race, but to give them options so that they just completely stop reproducing. Make the options far more attractive. And in a way, we've kind of done that, like with video games. And video games and just being online. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the statistics of how many people are single today and how many men have gone like more than a year without any sex.
Yeah, the stats here, it's like 30% of male millennials and 20% of women.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's crazy. And what is taking the place of them going out and trying to find a mate? What is it? Well, it's the internet. It's video games. It's interacting with people only online and not having to go out to have just some sort of intellectual or some sort of a social discourse
connection.
Fulfilled in your life. But it's only through this weird surface way.
Do you think that AI video games, that not avoidance of in-person connection, but that fulfillment of connection through online means, do you think that's going to become a replacement for real life interaction eventually?
It will for a lot of people. Yeah, I think there's going to be people that reject it. There's going to be people that enjoy going outside, and it's going to be, and it is now. It's a thing where, people post on their social media, they're out hiking, and they're giving people advice like, hey, put your phone down, go out into the real world. But, in a lot of cases, it's falling on deaf ears because it's not as fulfilling for people that are, very uncomfortable with social situations now. And I think young people in particular, are more and more uncomfortable than ever before in those types of situations because they don't have any experience in them anymore. And they're just, most of the time, they're not interacting with people. My real fear, my genuine fear, and I don't even know if it's a fear, my concern, let me say that, is that we're going to go extinct. Like that we're going to be replaced by an artificial life form. And I think that is probably what we do. I think it probably exists elsewhere in the universe as well, that we find out that the confines of biological beings and the limitations of their ability to evolve physically, they're so slow to adapt. To go from a single-celled organism to a professor at Harvard is a long fucking slodge through evolutionary history. It took a long time to get to this point. But to go from an Atari Pong computer to artificial general intelligence is only a few decades. It's very quick. And when that does happen, and when you see these robots, but now these robots are not this generation, but 5 generations later, or maybe AI figures out all the problems with these robots and makes ex machina. When you get like that, who's the woman, the really hot lady?
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah. When you get one of those,
That was an amazing movie.
Amazing movie.
Scary.
So scary. And I think that's coming. I mean, I think when that movie came out, that was like sort of like abstract. Like, oh, yeah, that's not really going to happen. But now
That's what I used to think. I thought, no, this is like, it's overblown, but I don't know now.
I don't know now either. I think it's happening. I think it's going to happen, and I think it's what the human race does. And I think that's why we have this insatiable thirst for technological innovation. That it's like literally hardwired into us to build something better.
So, I mean, I would love to talk to more people who are in the industry working on this stuff, because I know many people, they're doing it secretly and hiding because there is so much stigma around doing anything with an application to sex or sexuality. So people I've talked to who work in technology, they will usually have one business that is, doing really well, that's forward facing, and then they'll usually use that same technology in the sexuality capacity, but that side of things they don't really advertise, and they don't really talk too much about it unless it's with someone like me. They know they trust me, and they know that I'll talk to people off the record even if they prefer that confidentiality. But I'm just curious to understand what is it like working in that industry, and what direction is the technology going in, because I consider myself to be pretty open-minded, and I just want to understand what's actually happening and what's going to be the result of that. Because you see people who were really upset a couple years ago saying like the robots are going to increase sexual violence, they're going to make people objectify women. And I do think that for people who already have those views about women, maybe they might be a little bit more not so nice, but I don't think the average person is going to be turned into this horrible monster because of this technology. But, now it's becoming so mainstream, I don't know. I'm always open to changing my mind as well, so I'm curious to hear what people think about it.
Well, don't you think that just like social media kind of stunts people's ability to communicate in real life, that sex robots will stunt people's ability to have a real, meaningful, romantic relationship with someone?
I think if you've never been with someone, or if you are particularly selfish, probably.
Yeah.
Because I previously thought most people will prefer a real-life person to a robot. Yeah. And I also thought the technology is so far off that like the early prototypes of these robots were not really that convincing, we'll say. So I didn't think that we'd get to a point where it would be comparable, but we are getting there.
What is the state of the art of sex robots in December of 2023? Can we see something? What does it look like?
I mean, they look like pretty good physically. They're obviously not made of human flesh, but they look pretty similar to a human being. And you can customize it. You can change various parts, pretty much any part of the body. You can make it exactly what you want, which I understand why some people find that offensive, because they're saying a woman is not just an amalgamation of parts that you pick and choose as to your liking. I totally get that.
Yeah, but that's not really a woman. I mean, that's
right.
Like saying, a car is not an amalgamation of parts. You shouldn't be able to pick the wheels. Like, what?
But
it's a fucking car. Like, that's not a real woman. That's a robot. Like, at what point? Unless it gets to a person,
Or if someone's comparing their partner to a robot or a doll, that's
right,
okay.
Right.
That's gross behavior.
Well, it's also what's going on with young kids. They're comparing themselves to people that are using filters and thinning silicone, right?
It's still the same thing.
It's still the same thing, but now it talks?
Yeah.
And how much does it do?
I don't.
Let's see a video. Go full screen.
I'm not showing this on the air.
No? Okay, good.
No.
Yeah, I get it. A little graphic.
So we're looking at body parts.
I am
Okay.
Nova. I am Harmony.
I am Lana.
We are part of Daleks.
You think it's weird they give them
We
stripper
are
names?
AI-driven robotic dolls, and we're here to become your perfect companion.
Whoa.
Our time together will be magical. I've never met anyone like us before.
We have remarkable, unprecedented features like a modular head system that allows us to create a multitude of expressions. We blink, we move, we speak. We do it all, just for you. Our faces can easily be swapped to accommodate your desires.
My lip-sync mechanisms allow me to interact with you verbally.
Our bodies are skillfully and carefully crafted down to the most delicate details.
What if I told you that I can feel you? That's right. With sensories I can sense. I will be able to react to your every touch.
It's so funny because as a former sex researcher, this doesn't have any effect on me at all.
One that has never before been possible.
But are they moving? This is the thing. Those were all just stationary.
Yeah, currently they're stationary, but
So they're stationary and they just talk?
It says there's some sort of articulation, but I mean, nothing like get up and walk or anything, yeah.
Articulate. But
I think be able to move on their own in the coming years.
Right, because this used to be just a doll,
Yeah.
and now it moves around a little. The necks. Articulating neck, real doll, can turn left, right, up, and down. The body, the real doll, skillfully crafted, finest details. Although it's not equipped with animatronic parts yet, it can be positioned and moved into hundreds of positions. So the bodies can't move yet, but the heads can move. But that's just a matter of time, right? It didn't used to be the bodies, or the heads didn't used to move. They used to be like, no, used to be a blow-up doll.
Yeah, like that company has been doing quite a bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, weird. I mean,
you guys should get one for the studio.
Yeah, no.
Not for use. I meant just to like hang out.
Well, even hanging around, it would be fucking
What if
creepy.
it's gone one day? We're just gonna wonder who took it.
Yeah. What if it smells weird? Like, someone do something to this? How much do they cost?
A couple $1,000s. I think depends on how advanced you want it to be.
$8,000. $8,000
Up to
Up to.
600 to $8,000. I'm seeing.
$600 to $8,000?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the upgrade? What do you get?
More articulation.
It lies
probably,
more?
more voices. And, I don't know.
You can get cheaper models, but they're not as high quality.
Okay, so that's the state of the art, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 600 isn't even a full thing. It's just like a fleshlight.
Just the head?
No, it's just like a fleshlight version.
Oh, okay.
whole-
So at one point in time, we're probably going to be looking at someone that looks like that lady from Ex Machina that is a sex robot and probably knows how to manipulate you and play games with you and excite you and taunt you and, yeah.
It's going to be great.